Sometimes having the heart of a servant is the doorway to God's opportunities for us. Have you ever had an unexpected opportunity or experience because you were willing to be helpful? Today's Bible verses and our background places us at the beginning of Genesis 24, where after securing the deed for his family burial ground in Canaan and laying his wife to rest, Abraham is now very old and has been blessed in every way. The final order of business for Abraham is to ensure the continuation of his family legacy through his son Isaac. And that brings us to our key Bible verse for today, which reads, "Then Rebekah and her servant girls mounted the camels and followed the man. So Abraham's servant took Rebekah and went on his way." Genesis chapter 24, verse 61. So Abraham's now advanced in age, about 140 years old, and is living in the land of Canaan among pagans. His greatest concern is to find a wife for his son Isaac before he dies. He then commissions the oldest servant in his house, probably Eliezer, who must be very old by now, to go down to his homeland Haran, not Ur of the Chaldeans, to find Isaac a wife. Based on his personal witness and Abraham's encouragement, the unnamed servant calls on the Lord for guidance. Sitting by the well, believing in the promises of God and trusting in his providence to guide him, the servant continues his prayer. Many young women usually come to the well at this time of the day. But to avoid making the wrong choice by sheer sentiment, and to be sure of God's leading in the matter, the servant makes an unusual request: the offer to give water to his camels. Moreover, he wanted a woman with an attitude of service for his master, one willing to go the extra mile. This woman would be a kind, industrious, and virtuous, a prudent woman from the Lord. He needed a woman with the right heart, so he asked for God's help because seeing hearts is God's specialty. Again, the answer to this unusual request would confirm that God has shown kindness to Abraham. While the servant is still praying, God has already answered his request, which is consistent with God's character and promise. This is a concrete example of what he promised the prophet: "While they are yet speaking, I will hear." Everything the servant asked for, the Lord answered and even better. Often God answers our prayer even beyond our expectation. Paul says that God is able to do exceeding abundantly above all that we ask or think. Although the servant never asked for a physically beautiful young lady for his master, God went beyond his request. He brought to him Rebekah, a woman who was physically as well as morally beautiful. It's interesting that the scene plays out following Isaac's trip to Beer Lahairoi, which was the place of Hagar's well. Beer Lahairoi stood as a reminder to Isaac and his father Abraham of the loss of relationship he experienced with his older brother Ishmael earlier in his life, and he comes from that place during the season in which he is also mourning the loss of his mother Sarah. Yet the Bible records that Rebekah was a special comfort to him after the death of his mother. It is a beautiful reminder of the faithfulness of God. While Abraham orchestrates the mission to find Rebekah for the role she would play in carrying out the future of the covenant, and because the servant seeks confirmation of God's choice, God divinely provides Isaac a wife who could be a special comfort and source of strength to endure his present pain. Here's our lesson. Genesis 24 is unique in a number of ways. It is unique not only because it is the longest chapter in the book of Genesis, 67 verses, but because of the importance of the topic it covers, the institution of marriage. The author narrates in detail Abraham's final words and wishes for his son on this most important institution in a man's life and how it was fulfilled. The chapter is also significant because it recounts how God uses yielding hearts to fulfill and perpetuate his purposes, plans, and promises. It tells the story of how God directs and answers the prayer of those who put their trust in him, and how the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord.